Hey guys, it's Hayes with CheatSheetPros.com. Today is June 11th. It's a Saturday. I've had a few people ask me if I could build a lineup using the MLB cheat sheet. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to build a lineup for this early slate. It starts in 4 hours. Now this video is not made for you to copy the lineup and enter it, although I know some people will, but it's made to show you how to build the lineup and some of the things that I look at. Now if you're playing this early slate, it kicks off in about an hour and a half. This guy is just phenomenal. So I did a Minnesota stack and then I stuck in Jake Berger. Look at this, 12, 23, 17, 11, and 16 DK points. And his price is only $3,500, so he's a good one to throw in there. So I've got our main slate pulled up. No lineups you can see are confirmed yet, so we're going to kind of flip through. So the first thing that I do on the MLB cheat sheet is I go over here to the stacker tab on the bottom, and I'm going to flip through this. Now for DK, there's 3 slates today. There's the Turbo, which is a super early slate for 3 games. There's the early slate, which is the main. I think it's 8 games, and then there's a later slate that I haven't looked at. So this is always sorted by Vegas projected runs. It's going to let you know who the pitcher is. It's going to give you some generic stats. The cost of the stack, so we're looking at the top 5 and then the 2 to 6 highest, what they cost. And if you need another breakdown, here's a stack breakdown of what we're looking for. We're looking for this low 4,000 to 4,500s, kind of where we want to be. So based on Vegas projections, some of these are the early slate and some are the late slate. So we're just going to kind of go down here. And I look at the power rankings, which these are our custom power rankings that I've built over the last 2 weeks. Now, of course, Toronto, they're going to be in there. They are on absolute fire. WRC plus of 170 is insane. But you can see they're very expensive. They're projected. They're going to be chalky. They've got a weak pitcher. So GPP, probably not the best place to go, but good for cash. But if you can grab 1 or 2 pieces, that is perfectly fine. Coming down here, Philadelphia is a little bit better. We've got a better value on them, although they are probably going to be chalky. I like Atlanta, but they are astronomical priced, so you're not getting very much value. And projected at 5.1 runs, they are going to be chalky. But then we get down here and we see some $3,000 numbers, and we get over 100% value on a few. So one of the ones that I like is San Diego. So the Padres almost won me a GPP last night. I think I ended up cashing 15x my money and got 25th out of, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 people. So it was a pretty good sweat. So what I like here about the Padres is they're decent. They're middle of the pack. They've got a solid average, WRC plus over 100 the last 14 days. They're priced just stupid, 32 to 37.80. So they're priced in the sweet spot, value 112%. Now some people will say, hey, you have better value up here on Milwaukee, but look at the comparison between these two for the last 14 runs per game, 5.1 to 3.5, batting average 260 to 211, WRC plus 110 versus 79, power ranking 14th versus 28th. So is that 5% really worth it when you're getting a team that's struggling, or would you rather come down here to 112 and take a good mediocre team that's priced well? So the Padres are what we're going to look at for our stack. So we're going to go over to, where'd my website go? So we're going to go over here to DK. We're going to look at the Padres. Actually, let me pull them up. Now I go over to the Daily Stacks tab, which you can see. We flip the game. I have the Padres. You can see here they rank 3rd in our last 10. Good, solid runs per game. And then I always look here. The last 3 games, they've scored 9, 13, and 7 runs. So they're clicking right now. They're doing really well. I just want to make sure they're not going up against a stud pitcher. Ryan Felter is far from a stud. He's got an ERA of 5.85. xFIP's much better, but he's got a pretty high whip, and he's allowing a pretty decent batting average. And it's the 28th bullpen behind him. Last year, he only had 6 innings, but in those 6 innings, he gave up a 346 average. So he's far from an ace, so this is a lineup we are going to stack. So let me slide over here so I can pull up DK as well. Now we're looking at this. Now looking at the projected lineup, we have 2 90 graded hitters. So Profar and Mikado, they're doing good. Last 7, last 14, so they're going to be in our lineup. Our leadoff hitter has a top 4 ISO versus pitcher hand. He grades pretty well. He's doing really good the last week, so we're going to go the 1, 2, 3 hitters. Price-wise, Machado's the most expensive one. So after the 1, 2, 3, we get down here, we have Hosmer, and I'm probably going to skip him. He falls into a black, him and Kim. They haven't been doing very well. They don't have a ceiling. So you could come down here to George or Grisham, take a look at that, or Azokar, however you say his name. But we're definitely going to do the 1, 2, 3 hitters, so let's go ahead and get them in. So up here we got Cronenworth. So Cronenworth, we're going to put him on second. Then we got Profar. We're going to throw him in the outfield. We have Machado. And again, you got to make sure you check the lineup to make sure that all of those guys are in there because stuff can always change. Now, one of the other things that I like to do, let me pull this over on the screen, is scroll down here and look at the fantasy points over recent games. So you can see here, Cronenworth has been on fire. 15, 36, 11, 4, 25, 23. Profar, 16, 22, 22, 15, 12. Those guys are studs. Machado, we know he's a stud. He's got 19 and 14 over the last 2 games. Had a little struggle, and then 22 and 10. So definitely, usually if they have a good game, Machado has a good game. So the top 3 are in there. Hosmer, I'm going to go ahead and skip. He's got 2, 5, 0, 5, 3, 7, 0, 0, 2. He's not really doing much. So typically people are going to just do a generic 1 to 5 stack. And so they're going to end up with Hosmer. So we're going to skip over him so we can be a little bit different. Kim, I really don't mind here. He's 3,000. His last 2 games, he has 15 and 11 DK points. 15 DK points doesn't seem like a lot, but that is 5x value on his salary. And then Grisham really jumps out at me here. He's got a 19 and an 18 over the last 10 days, and then a 7, 9, and 13. And he's only 2,600, so you're getting a good value there. So I think I'm going to go with Kim and Grisham if they'll fit. So let's go back over here and take a look. So we're going to put in Kim, and again, we hope he's in the lineup. So we've got room here to fit him in. And let's look at Grisham. So Grisham's only $2,400. So this is what I'm going to do for my 4 or 5-man Padres stack. I'm going to do the 1, 2, 3 hitters, and then I'm going to sprinkle in a couple guys that are down a little bit lower. So if this is how the lineup would come out, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7. So I don't like to get more than, definitely don't want a 3 gap between my players. So you don't want to go like 5, 9. 2 gap, you can. It's a little tough, but 1 gappers I don't mind. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7. Even if Grisham gets knocked down to 8, that's fine. Sometimes I'll even do like a 7, 8, 9, 1, 2 if it's really chalky, or like 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, and get the wrap in. So that's what we are looking at for. Let me get this over here. Make sure I get this lined up for you. There we go. So that's what we're looking at for our pitching stack. Now that I've got my stack, I want to go look at pitchers and see who I could get. So I'm going to go over here to, so we have pitcher grid and player grid. The player grid, let me go ahead and, what I do. Okay, yeah, we'll look at that in a minute. So your pitcher grid, we're going to take a look at it. It's usually sorted high to low. So what I'm going to do, these players have the highest averages. I'm going to look at the last 3 or 4 starts. And I'm playing on DK, so I want to look at the money. So looking up here, you know, the top guy is going to be Zach Wheeler. Of course, he's 10,000. Perez is 9,000, but he's not in this slate. Swarmer's not in this slate. You get down here to Eric Lohr, 9,800, but he's got 14, 11, 8. He's got 3 rough starts, so we're going to cross him off the list. Framber Valdez is 8,900. He's got 20, 35, 17, 27. So I like that. He's going up against Miami. He has 4 solid starts. He gives us a good floor. He's more on the expensive side, but he's not too expensive. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 5th down on the list. Sub 9,000, so we're going to put in Valdez. I like him. That's going to free up some money. Gausman is on this slate. Let's take a look at him. So he's coming off of a rough start, 15, 29, 8, 22. So Gausman hadn't really been doing very much. So at 10,000, You really need to get about 3x, so 30 DK points, but that's not going to win you a GPP. And he's got 2 sub-10 games in his last 4, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to just stay away from him. He wouldn't be a bad GPP play, but I think he'll be higher owned than what people think. Kershaw's not on the slate. Montas, I don't mind. He's 9,300. But this is like 2x, a big game, and then a dud game. So he doesn't really jump out. Giolito, I was shocked at 9,000. So 3x, we would need about 27 points. He's got 13, 8, 24, 15. So he's really not getting us there. Walker, I don't believe is on this slate. We're going to flip down here. Now we're getting down into some lower priced people. Now Hunter Green jumps out at me. $8,300. He's coming off of a 40 DK point game. That's 5x. That's great for GPP. That gives us upside. And prior to that, 12, 20, he kind of hovers around there. Not good, not bad. But this 40 DK point game really jumps out at me. Also looking down here, I don't think Carrasco's on this slate, but I see a couple green games in here. Plesac is another one that jumps out at me. So you can see here, he's only 6,500 and he slides way down the list, but he's coming off of a 26.5 DK point game. So that's over 4x. And then this is 18.5 is a 3x game. So he's got 2 back-to-back good games. He's really cheap, so I'm going to use him for a GPP. So let's go down here and look at Plesac. So we're going to pull him up. He's going up against Oakland. Oakland's not very good. And, Plesac struggled. He's got some negative games. He got beat up a little bit. But his last 2 starts, not against really great teams, KC and Baltimore, he went 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 innings, 1 earned run, had 8 and 5 strikeouts. Threw 99 pitches in his last start. So he's got 2 good starts, and he's going up against Oakland. He's really cheap, so we're going to take a shot on Plesac. Now let's come over here and take a look at this game. So we have Oakland, Cleveland. So just to kind of take a look at this and show you, Oakland, they rank 30th in our last 10 power rankings. Look how many games in a row they've lost. So he should be a good shot for the win. We do have an advantage over here for Cleveland. Vegas line's probably close to 120. We got him better as 140, so that's an edge over to Plesac. And then when we come over here and we look at the lineup, he's got Pinder, 35% strikeout rate, 27% strikeout rate, 27, 30. So, and it's an ice cold lineup, so this is a good spot for Plesac to be in. So this leaves us $5,300 to fill out 3 spots in our lineup. So right now with this, I think we have a solid pitcher in Valdez that gives us a good floor. Plesac gives us a good up-down for GPP. He should be a little lower owned than some of the studs that are going to be on there. And then we've got 5 Padres who are just, the average price between them is dirt cheap. So this is a good core lineup right here. Now we want to fill in these holes. So we're just going to flip down here. So let's flip through here and see what we got. Well, the first guy up here, Vlad Galero. I love Toronto today. They're in a smash spot. So let's look at him. 14, 16, 16, 14, 19. So he's doing really well. So I'm just going to go ahead and play Vlad. He's a stud. I love him. I want to go ahead and take a look at my catcher, see what I can fill in here. Catcher, I usually want to go somewhat cheap on. There's no one really jumping out at me, so let's go ahead and take a look at an outfielder spot. So we can pretty much use anyone we got. So typically I'll go over here to this player grid, and it's sorted by last 14 average points per game, and then we can see our grid over here and our double-digit counter. So typically what I do is I'll get rid of the 0, 1, and sometimes 2. So I only want to see players with 3 or more that have a high average. This excludes people that have like 1 game, and then I'll usually filter out the teams here. Well, one of the guys, we've already used Vlad, so Alejandro Kirk comes in, and he's been on absolute fire. Look at this. He's got a 35, a 23, an 18, a 16. So let's go ahead and take a look at him. Now, I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup, so you got to pay attention to that, but he's been on absolute fire. 16, 14, 7, 18, 23. Yeah, we'll put him in there. So that gives us Vlad and Kirk. So it gives us 2 Toronto Blue Jays. And even if Toronto's chalky, Padres are our main stack, and this gives us a few other guys. Now we've got $5,300 for an outfield spot, so let's just go ahead and kind of see who's hot and who's in this lineup. So you can flip down here. So Yordan Alvarez is one that jumps out. 11, 17, 20, 31, 24, but he's 6,300, so he's a little bit more. Now let's go ahead and filter this. We can go in here to, just in case you're not familiar with Excel, click the caret, go number of filters, less than or equal to, and then put your price. So we've got 5,300. We're going to put 5,300 in here. You can see Jake Berger, this is where I found him at. When I was looking, I had 3,500, and he's got 12, 23, 17, 11, 16, 16. That's phenomenal. Kirk shows up there. Outfielder, so we have Jock. He's a little bit up and down. I don't like him. Flipping down through here, and let's go ahead. We know we can only use an outfielder, so let's filter out all the positions except for outfield, and then this will narrow us down, and then we just got to find someone on the slate. This dude, Jack Shawinski, he's not in this slate, but man, look at him. He's been on fire. He's someone I've been posting in the chat, like, use this guy. He's $2,200. He's got, so 7x, 7x, 3.5x, what's that, 8x, 9x, I mean 7x. I mean, he's just absolutely killing it. Buxton, okay, here we go. So we got, well, no, Buxton's on the early slate, dang it. 30, 34, 21, he's been on fire, so he's a good one to use. I did a Minnesota stack early. Okay, Kyle Tucker, here we go. 23, 77, 25, 25. That's our guy right there. So we're going to take Tucker. Let's see if we can fit him in. So Kyle Tucker. All right, boom. So here's our lineup. Now, again, check it. Make sure everything's confirmed. But you've got 2 decent pitchers. You've got 2 studs on Toronto that are doing well. You got a red-hot Kyle Tucker and then 5 Padres that are correlated. That's a good lineup. Now, if you want to mix and match this, say you don't like Kyle Tucker, you want a better pitcher, you know, come in here, say you want to do Gausman. Well, Gausman's not going to work. But say you want to do, let's say you want Bumgarner, for example. You know, you want to spend a little bit more money. Well, now you got 4,400 left for an outfielder. And do the same thing. Come over here, go to your number of filters, less than or equal to 4,400. And then look at all these different guys that you can fill in there. So, and you can even filter out the games. So like for the early slate, I just filtered out the games that were on there so I could find the player. But once I build my stack, I fill in my pitchers. I go over here to the player grid and I start playing with this to find guys that I really like that are doing decent that I can flip up in there. But that's basically how I build a lineup. And I did already enter this lineup into an early slate. So let's see what you guys come up with. Good luck, guys.